Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining or watching this video. I'm Nicole Bradford. I'm the Executive Director of the Transformative Technology Lab and Conference, and I'm here with one of my heroes, Nenea Reeves, who is the CEO and founder of TRIPP. TRIPP is the intersection of VR and human possibility. And I'm going to let you hear directly from Nenea what that means and why it's so important for people.
Well, hi everyone, and thanks Nicole for asking me to do this. You definitely are one of my heroes too, and I was so nervous when I showed you TRIPP the first time because it means so much to me, and you were one of the first people outside of our company to actually get to try it. So the mission of TRIPP is to use technology to help people feel better. It's as simple as that. And we found that with the immersion of virtual reality, that this had a multiplying effect of any kind of application of sound frequencies, gameplay mechanics that make you respond in a positive way. And we took all those elements together and I think created something really wonderful and unique. And so our goal though is to evolve it over time. You know, now that we have it up and running, and it's we're live now in a drug treatment facility in Los Angeles.
Wow.
That's also a very personal mission for me because I lost a sister to a drug overdose. And so to have that be our first application they're using it as a grounding mechanism for their clients before they go into group therapy. It's the beginning of really realizing that original mission that we set out with to create something that could help people.
Wow, that's great. And I love that, people are using it as a grounding technique prior to the treatment, and just how much potential that has for helping a great deal of people.
Yes, I'm super excited about the product that will show up though in about 3 years once we have that feedback loop from people using it. But I'm sorry, I cut you off. You're going to ask me a question.
Oh no, I was just going to ask about and you kind of went directly into it, sort of like, what is your vision for TRIPP, and what do you think is possible with VR in this way? What does TRIPP look like in 2 or 3 years?
Well, and I'm not sure it's just about VR. Right now, VR is just the method of delivery for us because it's the only hardware that we have that provides that level of immersion. But I do think there will be devices of the future that will have a more seamless integration with moving from this reality as we know it into augmented and altered versions of reality. So I don't want to just limit it to VR. When we think of our company, we think of it more as we're selling the benefits of the service. And we also have a mobile companion app that will be finished in about 90 days. And it's a huge component to extending the experience with the end user. We can take mood pulses throughout the day and start to really build that mood profile for the user so that they can quantify their mood. And so that's, we look at it more, the vision is a toolkit of these performance enhancing technologies with the goal that hopefully people can use the technology rather than as an alternative to taking substances or as many chemicals.
Oh, that's great.
My little doggy.
I thought I heard that little nugget.
She's the best. She's our chief security officer and our director of emotional support. So
what you said just raised a question for me about when I first started working in transformative technology, and I would talk to people about this ability for technology to have a profound effect on the human psychological state and sort of what was going on inside of people. 4 years ago, no one knew what I was talking about. They looked at me like I was crazy. to
Right.
suggest. It was kind of a radical idea at that time. And so I'm wondering how what's been your reception? It seems like I feel like people are really getting it and getting what you're doing, and I think that's clear because
Yeah.
you now have a trial up
Yeah.
that's running.
It's really interesting because one of our main focus now is, can we bring TRIPP into companies to help employees have more productive breaks and get a positive interaction throughout their workday. I don't need a lot of data to tell me that people work causes the most stress for them, but there is a lot of data out there to support that. And so we figured that's an arena where we could be the most helpful. As we go into some of these more conservative companies and show them TRIPP, I've been surprised at the receptivity. So I do think that there's a sea change happening as people get more and more connected to their phone, and that almost being an extension of who you are. And I think that the openness to it is, like you said, much people are more open than they were 5 years ago. But with that comes a huge responsibility, right? That we have to be conscientious about what we're doing and make sure that we are battle tested, that we don't make a lot of claims that are unfounded. You get excited about things that are indicative, of having some positive impact, as some of the early data that we're seeing. But, real validation takes many years, and we're excited to work with the scientific and medical community to, really understand how to apply these technologies in a responsible way. But just to close the loop on your question, we have seen 2 digital drugs get approved by the FDA when what Adam Ghazali has done with Akili Interactive, and using that to using video game to help ADHD in a clinical setting, and then Paratherapeutics getting a mobile app approved for the treatment of to help with substance abuse disorder. So I think there is a much broader sea change than just even what we're contributing to kind of the use of technology as, I don't want to say therapeutic just yet, because you really have to have a lot of foundational data to use that word, but something beneficial or helpful.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely going in the right direction. I think that, I really believe that, from what I see too, is that different people need different things. And there's so many different types of people in the world who are
Right.
going to have, so many specific needs. And so certainly there's a role for people to have molecules. And certainly there's a role for that. But there's a lot of people who, potentially could be helped with other things, and
For
that
sure.
people should have a toolkit. And so I love, where this is going, because, the way you've seen my psychological profile or human
Yeah.
psychological spectrum. So on one side, so everyone who's watching, on one side, there's human support, and that's, people who need help with stress, anxiety, and depression,
Right.
light depression. In the middle is so emotional well-being, and so those are all of the skills that you need to have that. So
Right.
things related to happiness, loneliness, connection, meaning making, emotional self-regulation, self-awareness, the ability to like build trust, which is a big part of having emotional well-being. And then on the far side is sort of like some of the things that the contemplative traditions have sort of pointed to. So what's really exciting about where this category is and where the products are is that we are emerging. It is at the beginning, but I think what's possible for what can be done with these products, just overall for how people think and feel and
Yes.
help them, is awesome.
I agree, and I mean, I personally believe that our experience was kind of next level in the category when you look at comparatively. And I don't say that with any arrogance. I just know that we took a very unique approach, and the response has been amazing. When people try it, they report, it makes them feel better. We're capturing data in a way that allows us to create a mood improvement score on the end user. And eventually we're going to tie health kit and wearable data into that so we can get some biometric inputs as well tied to the session. But there's the goal now, and the thing that our team is most excited about building now that we have the data environment in place and we're capturing all of that, is the neural network, the machine learning layer that starts to understand what works for Nicole in a way that's different from Nanea. And so that ultimately the experience, as you said, will come down to what do you need that's different from what I need? And that's our end, at least product vision. We are starting the development on our platform for that machine learning layer. And it's something I'm the most excited about because at that point, the way that we've built it, where it changes every day, which you've seen, it is now in place where it will change specifically to you, probably within about a year of having trained data. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Well, I so appreciate your time for this quick.
Yeah, you got it.
Everyone, so Nanea is one of our speakers at the Transformative Technology Conference.
Yeah,
and one of the things that we didn't talk about also is that one of the things she and I share is a deep background in video games and gaming. And so she's bringing all of that understanding of engagement towards, something that's really great for people. And
I'll have it at the conference too. If anybody wants to try it, who's attending the TransTech conference, we'll have a couple TRIPP stations set up so people can jump in during breaks.
Absolutely. So that's November 9th and 10th in Palo Alto. You can get your tickets at ttconf.org. And thank you so much, Nanea. I love your product. I love your work.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything you do, Nicole, too. And, we're an army of badass women who grew up playing video games. We have to expand and multiply and contribute. So thank you for being part of that force for good.
Thank you. Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.